Hello, everybody. So we're back again. I'm sure for those of you just seeing my face for the very first time on the internet, look somewhere there, or somewhere there, you'll find my introduction video. I am a writer, and my niche is short stories. So today we'll be sharing my our very first short story in this romance of ours together. I hope you follow me throughout for this our romantic journey. This story is called 10 Years and a Blue Bowl. We're following a man who has lived in a certain area before, moved out, and had to go back for one thing or the other, and is re-experiencing some of the oldness and some newness as he gets back to this area. So let's journey with him. So we start. It says little pebbles lodged in between his toes. The spot in between his big toe and the next jarred him the most. He shuffled along, refusing to stop to rest, while little pillows of dust floated up and settled around the bunches of his oversized trousers at the ankles. His knees buckled as he trudged on. He wheeled his trembling body to the distant destination away off. The road was mostly dusty, with little pebbles of brown gravel, relics of a distant past, when huge trucks plied the road. The brown pebbles forming a stratified sublayer created to carry the large trucks bringing construction materials and a hope of development, enterprise, and newness to that rustic town. The leaves of the almond tree, brown and falling during the rainy season, indicated he was close to his destination. Planted by the locals nearest their hamlets, they had been good for fruit, shelter, and firewood, offering them up for the town planning director to incorporate them to beautify the landscape. The leaves crunched under his feet and softened his tread as he made his way to the tarred road that the trees lined on either side. This softness overwhelmed his fatigued body as comfort washed over him, forcing him to sit down wearily and take off his shoes to shake the irritating pebbles out. The trees came first, then the road followed, but you'd be forgiven if you had thought the other way around, because of the clear path the heavy earth-moving machines had created right through the cluster, right down to the hamlet, which was the proposed site of the new residential settlement for low-income civil servants servicing the new government teaching hospital a bit further up. The site was in the middle of nowhere and easily forgotten. It was supposed to sit 100 bungalows, 10 each side of a concentric square, falling into smaller concentric squares, 40, 40, and the final 20 apartments, 5 each side of a square, being the least in dimension, all enclosing a beautiful park, which was to form the nucleus of social living as designed by the architect. Walking towards the houses, one would have been able to see, at a glance, looking down any of the rows, and see the beautiful center and be drawn to it, if only it had been built. He had been part of the road project which had never really fully been finished all those years ago as a construction worker. The proposed teaching hospital itself, the reason, lay about 20 minutes away, like a beached whale, with its decaying carcass of protruding steel and gutted concrete, unfinished, a true testament to the rife corruption going on within government. At least, that had been birthed, though stillborn. It lay waiting for another rally from a new set of corrupt officials to push for its completion, as they preached better healthcare, low infant mortality, and better basic primary health in the region. They would further inflate the project 4 times its actual cost in the state budget. Their predecessors, having had their fill, not for the want of more, but for the elapse of their tenure in the service of the people, had rolled over and left the hospital uncompleted. The housing project was to utilize a new type of building technology developed from the science governing earthen pots, the science that keeps water cool without refrigeration in the warmest surrounding weather. For cold nights, the technologists concluded that fold-away padding would be applied through dense, dark furnishing all through the house, saving tremendously on energy costs. When it dawned on everyone that the housing project wasn't going any further than the landscaping and layout, all zeal evaporated, and eventually the workers were paid off and left. He had stuck around when he heard of a land fraud that had been going on. He had heard for a very reduced charge one could own a plot of land on the proposed site. Prudent as he was perceptive, he was able to acquire 2 plots of land, secure them, and put some temporary fencing on each of the plots. This had been a very long time ago. Present day had him broken, and disheveled. His return to the town was to supervise the sale of one of the plots of land. The pebbles found their way into his shoes again and troubled his toes as he trudged along. Now there was a particularly large one between his little toe and the next, giving him horror. Trekking that long a distance without socks to keep them out, coupled with his old, particularly worn shoes, which offered no protection save for the soles of his feet treading the bare ground, gave little to no comfort at all. At one time, he had been young, rascally, and brutally handsome, with all the ladies swooning. He loved his hawk-like facial features, his rippling muscles, honed after years and years of manual labor, and his otherwise genteel manners for a laborer. So much so that he punched above his weight class of being a construction worker. The sophisticated, classy, and well-off sought for his attention back then. They possessed the wherewithal and trappings to hold his attention for a while, but not long enough for him to spot a marriage full of heartache after his fascination with them had waned. These antics had earned him a wayward reputation, and that bad news traveled fast, and he became a pariah in their circles. It had become futile taking the stones out again because they always found their way back in. So he decided to trudge the remainder of the journey bearing their nuisance as he was almost at his destination. He still remembered the way back after all these years, but didn't recall it being such a long walk. His knees didn't work like they used to all those years ago. A smile played to his lips like a passing cloud offering cool on a sweltering hot summer's day. Setting off for the town that morning, he looked forward to seeing someone special. She had become self aware.